Hi, this is Mitch Randall with Good Faith Media in San Diego, California. We're attending the American Academy of Religion conference, and we're with Onishi. Brad, you've had two incredible events, one last night in Los Angeles and another one tonight here in San Diego. Why did you think it was important to gather a group of people together in Los Angeles and San Diego after the 2024 presidential election?
Look, we all feel despair. And I think there's a sense of hopelessness. There's a sense of folks thinking, how do I get through this? Where do we go from here? So, one of the things that we live by at Access Media, Straight White American Jesus, is community and solidarity do two things. They incite joy and they're a form of resistance. And so, we want to gather people. Being together feels good. And when we feel good, we have hope and we can organize, we can strategize, and we can think about our next steps. And so I think being together is really important. That's why we do these events.
You know, there's been a lot of analysis over the last 2 weeks, and rightly so. A lot of questions being entertained right now about what happened during the 2024 election and why we're facing another Trump presidency. But in tonight's panel, you talked about the importance of not only doing that analysis, but also looking forward. So what are you and your colleagues doing to look forward to not only counter the Trump presidency, but to communicate an alternative message to what is going on right now?
So I think one thing I want to keep in mind always is we can react or we can strategize. And I think what I want to remind people is we think about Inauguration Day. We think about the first year. We can react to every piece of cortisol candy thrown out into the media, whether it's cabinet picks or other rage bait, or we can quietly strategize together. We can find those working on the issues and the elections, the communities and the things that matter to us and say, how are we going to strategically respond to these things? So I think that's really important. I think in terms of figuring out what happened and why we're here, leaders like Trump make promises that others don't. They make promises that they're going to solve everything. They make promises that they're going to solve everything from expensive eggs to the resentment you feel because you think you've lost a piece of the country that's yours. Those promises are alluring. And we could break down for the next 10 hours why folks, are seduced into them. But when you promise the world, it's hard to compete with that. Doesn't mean it's right. Doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean I'm happy. Doesn't mean I'm looking forward to this. But there's an understanding of why we got here. I think the more important question for me now is, are we going to just react or are we going to strategize?
And speaking of strategies, one of the things that has been discussed not only over the last couple of weeks, but even prior to that, is formulating a message and a strategy for the future. What do you think is a winning strategy moving forward? Because the rhetoric of pointing out the anti-democratic attitudes of Trump and kind of the fear-mongering even on the left just didn't work. And so what should we be doing to build a coalition, to build collegiality within the future?
Yeah, I think there's two things. I think the local is the national. And there's a temptation for us to focus on the national and scroll endlessly through what's happening in DC or wherever. When we do these events, I meet people who are on the local level doing inspirational work. There's, as you know this very well, at Good Faith Media, you cover these stories. There's wins happening. There's good things happening. There's people who are making strides, whether it's on school boards, whether it's with local elections, whether it's with freedoms or young people learning what it means to be a citizen in this country. So the local is the way forward. The other part of the local strategy is the long-term strategy. The idea that we're going to fix this in the midterms, the idea that this will be something we will get over in 2028, that short-term thinking has plagued us for too long. Folks on the other side see this as a cosmic timeline. We have to realize that this is, if we want democracy, we have to practice it and fight for it for the rest of our lives and inspire others to do beyond that. So that's something we have to take to heart.
Well, Brad Onishi, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for inviting Good Faith Media to be a part of these two events. They were outstanding. I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thanks so much, Mitch.